but I was not doing this work in any way when I was a full-time broadcaster between 2009 and 2020. I'm no longer a full-time broadcaster. In July 2020, in the middle of COVID, I left Dublin of my own volition, left The Tonight Show, left The Hard Shoulder, and left broadcasting. My main activity now is working with clients across the economy on conferences and events. Typically, I either act as a guest speaker or as an MC, or like tomorrow in Croke Park, chairing a conference. I'm also a founding co-host of Path to Power podcast alongside Matt Cooper. This ran, for my part, from December 23 to October 2025. Podcasts hold a very important space in the media ecosystem, and a major part of their attraction is they are a looser, less cautious, more contrarian approach to issues, and allow voices to be heard that are increasingly hard to hear in the so-called mainstream media. They are primarily opinion-based. In the case of Path to Power, I don't think anyone was tuning in to hear two versions of Matt Cooper. The contrast between the styles and approaches of Matt on the one hand and myself on the other was a major attraction for listeners or viewers. I approached issues from a very different perspective, with deep political experience and connections, with relationships across the parties, with a real-world experience of both the economy and politics. This is part of the attraction. A guaranteed mood killer of that environment would have been if we were forced to preface every debate with a disclaimer or a declaration of interest. Thankfully, we did not, and I hope that burden is never placed on podcasters. Aside from my podcasting, controversy has arisen about my broadcasting roles and remarks during recent months of the presidential election. You will be aware, and only today, that Commissioner Namon is presently conducting a review into these matters with both Newstalk and RTE. Matters pertaining to the operation and implementation of their code are being properly processed there. I do not believe it's the function of this committee to carry out a parallel investigation or prejudice the outcome of that due process. I don't propose this evening to give further answers to my perspectives on these matters other than a lengthy interview I had with Dave McCullough on RT Today programme on the 10th of November. However, I want to make it clear that I'm available to Commissioner Namon if they desire it. As always, it's open to any member of the public, and this happened throughout my broadcasting career. There were complaints all the time. If people said that I did not act with fairness or objectivity, they can lodge an objection with the Commission. Previously, that was the BAI. There were many complaints against me. None, I believe, were upheld. However, with 5 decades personal experience in the media, asking and answering questions and commentating, I'm happy to relay any general insights into how programmes are made, with editorial production teams and the role of the presenter. Certainly, I'm happy to explain the modus operandi of media training and coaching and what it does and doesn't include. So I'm quite happy to discuss that. In relation to my various roles, I feel I must assert my bona fides. I have always acted in good faith in discharging every and any role to the best of my ability. My commentary role is based on my genuine independent opinions. I have always sought to be legally compliant with all legislation, be it taxation, the Revenue Commissioner, CRO, SIPO, and so on. My stances on many issues have never been a secret. It's a bedrock of my pugnacious broadcasting style. I seek to operate in the equivalent of the op-ed section of a print newspaper, and have written many columns in my day, in the style of a polemicist. I have never felt beholden to anyone for other work. I just want to say a few words on understanding conflicts. I believe my predictions, punditry, in every one of the 43 constituencies during the elections were based solely on trying to be as accurate and informative as possible. And I don't believe any training role altered the way I saw the election unfolding or the performance of various candidates. There are all sorts of conflicts across every walk of life. Relationships, family, friendships, political, shared experiences, financial. Can we police them all? Do we want to drown our legacy media in more and more onerous regulations, rules and protocols, or do we want to trust people to manage reasonable situations reasonably and to trust their audiences to make up their own mind? Finally, as regards this committee's consideration of future legislation, regulation and the policy of the media, I note you are deliberating the Broadcasting Amendment Bill 2025 and inter alia the establishment of a register of interests. In all future roles, Chairman, I will of course abide by any prevailing regulations that apply. I understand, however, that there have been difficulties with the RTE register in the context of the Data Protection Commission and GDPR, to the extent that there's been no personal details revealed. To extend this on a statutory basis to all broadcasters and podcasters would have severe consequences. Instead of controlling hate speech, it could limit free speech. The reality is that people who express strong opinions on topics such as migration, Donald Trump, the woke agenda and the nanny state don't conform to a mainstream media consensus. A sanitised, politically correct media limits the national conversation. It could widen the gap between ordinary people and the Beltway. A national echo chamber is one of the greatest drivers of alternative media. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I look forward to the committee's questions.
Thank you very much. Allowed a little bit more time there just to get through that. And now we will go to our committee members. Each member will have 7 minutes, and the first one is Senator Garrett Ahern.
Thanks very much, Chair, and can I welcome Mr. Yates to the committee and just acknowledge that you agreed to come, which wasn't the case with all. Obviously, as the Chairman said, some don't have the remit, but some do and chose not to come. So just to thank you for that. In the interest of transparency, and I assume you'll agree with me, our only connection is my mother served with you in Parliament at the same time. I've never had training with you, and I think I've only met you once since I've been a senator, and that was on prime time the night Simon Harris became Taoiseach. My first question is, did you receive training today? Today?
No, I'm self-trained.
Why not?
Because I am a trainer. But and I believe if I believe